Here's the thing about GPT 5.6. It is truly a massive leap from GPT 5.5. It does not seem like they should have just done a dot upgrade. They have effectively squeezed every drop of juice out of the GPT-5 training run that they possibly could, and the result is one of the most effective models and capable models that I have ever used. One of the first loops that I gave it was super simple. Look at this, /goal, make an Excel clone, continue until feature parity. Here is the thing about 5.6 plus Codex. It has all the tools in its tool belt to do this really well. Just a simple prompt, which is effectively 8 words long, ran for over 5 days before I manually stopped it. And here is what it created. This is the Excel clone, and it has a lot of the features that Excel has. And if I would have let Codex keep churning through tokens, it probably would have gotten even further. All right, so here, very simple. We have a list of numbers. You can easily sort it by ascending, descending. If I add another number in there, same thing. And everything is just super fast, works really well. We have all the formulas. So let's say equals this plus this 9. And if you double click into it, you get the formula up in this input bar up here like normal. We can add another one, minus 43, hit enter, and everything just works. So we have a bunch of standard Excel features. We have data validation, conditional formatting. We have tables, find and replace, obviously toggling and sorting, very easy. We have all of these different formula that you can use right from this single page HTML app. Remember, Excel is a massive piece of software, and a lot of the functionality has been condensed down into this very simple app. You can go try this out, which I'll drop a link down below for that. Shout out to Here.now for hosting all of the demos you're going to see today. It also has really deep analysis capabilities, including pivot tables. Look at how easy this is. Simply select some data with headers. You get all the rows sorted out. You get filters. You can create the pivot table. And look at that. We actually have a full pivot table done. And again, this ran for 5 days. Imagine how long it took to actually create Excel. It took years and years and years to get it to where it is. And obviously this is a subset of the total functionality. And obviously, as you can see here, there are some rough edges. But again, I stopped it after 5 days. And it was not anywhere close to being done. And here's the interesting bit. It used computer use. It opened up Excel on my desktop and would just go back and forth between doing something in Excel, the actual Excel, and then recreating it in this new cloned version. And that is one of the things that GPT 5.6 is so incredible at: browser use and computer use. It is phenomenal at browser use. I really cannot overstate that. Codex's browser has increasingly become my default, my main driver browser, because I can just get stuff done with it. I can open up Gmail and have it sort through my emails. I've done complex DNS record changes easily with just one prompt with Codex browser use. And of course I had it clone Minecraft. I did /goal once again, and I just said, create a clone of Minecraft, feature parity. And it went for something like 7 days before I finally stopped it. And it took only about 1 day to get what looked like actual Minecraft. But what it kept doing was going deep and would build out parts of the world that didn't exist before, would build out mobs that came straight from the actual game of Minecraft, different biomes. And it would just continue churning and just trying to get to feature parity. And it was just so impressive. And watch this. This is definitely the best version of Minecraft that I've ever created using AI. All right, so here we go. You can see the shadowing is really nice. Here I can mine the grass blocks pretty easily. Really cool 3D animation when you do that. You can pick up all the blocks that you just mined. Here we have miniature carrots. There's some carrots. We have farmland. And yeah, and it just works really, really well. Here's a tabby cat. Here I broke the glass. And so it is just incredibly impressive. It is a very full world, more more realistic than any other Minecraft that I've ever created. You can generate different seeds. Here it is. Here's that new world I just created. Here is my full inventory. Very easy to use. Very, very cool. And of course, our friends and partner on this video, Box, has put together their own benchmarks on enterprise grade work. Let's take a look. We have Box AI complex work eval for GPT 5.6, Sol, Terra, and Luna. And Box's benchmark tests real knowledge work, like reading documents, reconciling numbers, doing due diligence, and reviewing expert output for errors. We have GPT 5.5 on the accuracy, 63.3, and Terra at 59%. So obviously a drop from Sol, even a drop from 5.5. We have 5.6 Luna, basically getting the same score as Terra, but much faster and much less expensive. Here we have industry subsets. So we have the public sector, life sciences, and healthcare. All three Sol dominated GPT 5.5. Thanks to our partners at Box for putting together this awesome benchmark. I'm gonna drop a link down below where you can read more about their benchmark and specifically how GPT 5.6 did on it. All three of these models are coming soon to Box AI, so go check them out. I'll drop a link down below. The pricing is also much better for GPT 5.6. Not only is it less expensive, but it uses less tokens to get to the same result. So $5 per million input tokens versus $10 for Fable, much cheaper on cache hits, and $30 versus $50 per million output tokens. So again, you're just paying less, and it just feels like 5.6 has a more direct line of sight to accomplishing the task versus Fable. Now, with all of that said, Fable is something else. It feels much more like a brand new model, something that I hadn't used ever before. And it is very impressive. It sees around corners better than GPT 5.6. Here's the best way to explain it. 5.6 feels like the absolute pinnacle of an existing model, where Fable feels like we're just scratching the surface on what's possible on a brand new training run. That's the difference. Here's an analogy for you. It's kind of like GPT 5.6 is the most souped up Honda Civic you've ever seen. Every single horsepower has been squeezed out of it. The tires are optimized for speed. There's a spoiler, everything. And Fable is like a Ferrari that hasn't been touched yet. Fresh off the manufacturing line, unoptimized, and the potential is just so much higher there. So I put together a full review. I have a bunch of demos of things that I've built, including an actual operating system. We have a Rube Goldberg lab that you can use. All of this is available on it. I'm going to drop a link to the full review down below. And here's the other thing that is very different about GPT 5.6 versus Fable. It comes in 3 different model sizes: Luna, the smallest, Terra, the medium, and Sol, the largest. But even within those, you have multiple levels of reasoning. And if we choose Sol, you get all the way up to Ultra, which is, basically a quota burner. And so we've been talking a lot about model routing lately, where maybe you're using Fable for planning, and then you can actually call Codex from within Claude Code and delegate off to GPT 5.5. And now you can kind of just do everything with the GPT series of models. You plan with Sol, maybe you do most of the implementation with Terra on, high reasoning. And then for stuff like deploying or other kind of low requirement work, you offload to Luna. And so now you have all these different sizes, all these different thinking effort settings for these different models, and you can come up with a really nice skill to delegate between them. And by the way, I wrote a skill just for that. And if you want it, I'm going to drop a GitHub link down below so you can delegate all within Codex and save yourself a bunch of your quota and get basically the same quality performance.